The courtroom is deathly silent, the air thick with anticipation. Emily, sitting rigidly in the defendant's chair, feels her heart pound in her chest. Her eyes are fixed on the judge as the gavel rises. The room, filled with strangers, is a blur. Guilty, the judge declares. Her throat constricts, and for a moment, time stands still. She can feel the weight of the world pressing down on her. The whispered murmurs from the audience swirl in her ears, but she can't focus on them. Everything has changed in that single word. She thought she was prepared for this moment, but nothing could have prepared her for the crushing reality of the verdict. Emily's fingers tremble as they clutch the edge of the wooden table. The floor beneath her feet feels as though it's shifting. Her world, once firm and secure, is now crumbling away. The phone rings in the dead of night, cutting through the stillness of Emily's empty apartment. Her hand shakes as she answers, dread pooling in her stomach before she even hears the voice on the other end. "It's over," Jake's voice cracks. "They're gone." Her breath catches in her throat, and for a split second, the room seems to spin. She grips the phone tighter, the silence stretching painfully between them. "What do you mean, gone?" she whispers, her voice barely audible. The words she dreads are spoken with a finality that leaves no room for hope. A deep, hollow ache spreads in her chest. I'm so sorry, Emily," Jake continues. "There's nothing we can do. It's too late." She drops the phone, a cold sweat forming on her brow. The world outside her window is just as quiet, but inside, everything is shattering. The past she tried to outrun has come crashing back into her life. Emily stares at the phone on the floor, still buzzing softly from the call. Her heart races, her body frozen in place. It's as though the words she just heard haven't fully sunk in. She wanted to believe it wasn't true, but the weight of Jake's voice, the grief and finality, tells her all she needs to know. Her breath is shallow as she bends down to pick up the phone. The cold plastic feels alien in her hand. Her fingers linger on the receiver, but she can't bring herself to speak again. Outside, the night is eerily still, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Her mind races back to the past, to the loved ones she lost. She never thought she'd hear this kind of news again. The phone slips from her hand once more, this time landing beside her feet. She sinks to her knees, the realization sinking in, as her eyes well up with tears. Everything she once believed she had left is now gone, swept away by this painful reminder. As she gathers herself, Emily pulls herself to the window, her eyes searching the night sky. Her breath fogs up the glass as she presses her palm against it, feeling the chill seeping through. The world outside looks so distant, so unfeeling. The weight of grief presses harder against her chest. The memories, those moments long buried, come rushing back. She remembers her sister, the life they had shared before it was taken. She closes her eyes and lets the tears fall freely now, no longer holding back. This was the moment she had feared would come, a moment where the past, filled with love and loss, would return to claim her. But no amount of sorrow can bring back what was lost, and yet, in the depth of her pain, Emily knows she can't stop. She needs answers, and the only way to find them is to confront what's been left behind. Emily moves from the window to the small kitchen, her footsteps heavy with the weight of the news. She opens the refrigerator, the cold air rushing out, and then she freezes. She hadn't realized she'd been holding her breath until now. Her hands fumble for something, anything, to anchor her. The kitchen feels foreign, as though she's no longer at home, no longer in control. She reaches for a bottle of water, but the moment her fingers touch the cold glass, she can't bring herself to drink. The only thing she wants is to understand the truth, to know what happened to those she loved and lost. But that truth eludes her, slipping just out of reach. She stares at the bottle, unable to lift it to her lips, and her thoughts drift to the past. She wonders if she could have done something differently, if somehow she could have saved them. The weight of regret crushes her chest as she forces herself to let go of the bottle and step away. Emily sits alone in her apartment, the weight of the world pressing down on her chest. The silence that once felt comforting now suffocates her. She grips the edge of the couch, her mind racing. Memories of her sister, long gone, flood her thoughts. It's as if her sister is still here, but unreachable, locked in a past she can never return to. Emily closes her eyes, trying to shut out the voices in her head. She knows something is missing, but she can't place it. There's a letter tucked away in the drawer, one she hasn't dared to open. The thought of confronting her sister's absence is too much. But tonight, the ache is unbearable, and she wonders if she can find the strength to face it. She stands up, walking toward the drawer where the letter lies, her heart pounding. Will she open it? Will it provide the answers she so desperately seeks? Emily stares at the closed drawer in front of her. Her hand hovers above the handle, her breath shallow. The letter within feels like a weight she's carried for years, an unopened truth that might alter everything. She tries to steady her hand, but it shakes with the rawness of her fear. Opening the letter means confronting all the unanswered questions, the years of silence, and the gaps that have shaped her life. She wonders if the answers inside are worth the pain they may bring. But deep down she knows she has no choice. The silence is eating away at her. Emily pulls open the drawer and takes out the letter, her fingers trembling. She slowly begins to unseal the envelope, the rustling of the paper echoing in the otherwise quiet room. Each movement feels like a step into the unknown, and the truth, whatever it is, now seems inevitable. The envelope opens with a soft rustle, and Emily's hands are clammy as she pulls out the letter. The paper feels like it's been in the drawer for far longer than it actually has, its edges slightly frayed. She unfolds it carefully, each crease a painful reminder of the years that have passed. The words are written in a familiar hand, her sister's handwriting. Emily's heart skips a beat, and she can't help but trace the curves of the letters. But as she reads the first line, her stomach churns. It's a confession, one that she never expected. Her sister writes of secrets, of things Emily never knew, of events that should have been shared but were hidden instead. The letter reveals a world that Emily never knew existed. The truth has been buried, and now it's all spilling out at once. She reads on, her hands shaking more with every word. The realization is clear now, nothing will ever be the same. The words blur as Emily reads on, her mind spinning with disbelief. Her sister's confession unravels the foundation of everything Emily thought she knew. Her heart aches as she processes the implications. A betrayal of trust, of family. Her sister had kept secrets that now feel like a weight on Emily's chest. The more she reads, the more distant the world outside feels. Her hands are shaking violently now, and she's not sure whether it's from fear or the raw, bitter taste of betrayal. How could she do this? Emily whispers to herself, the room closing in around her. She can't breathe, can't think. The truth is a jagged pill, and it feels like it's lodged in her throat, threatening to choke her. She throws the letter down on the desk, burying her face in her hands. The betrayal cuts deeper than she could have ever imagined. The world she had left behind is coming back to claim her. Emily stands up abruptly, her chair scraping harshly against the floor. She can't stay here. The walls are closing in, suffocating her. She needs to get out, to escape the crushing weight of everything. She takes the letter and holds it tightly in her hand, not knowing what to do with it. Her legs carry her across the room, but she's not really moving forward. She's still stuck in the moment, still trapped in the revelation of her sister's betrayal. The night is still as she steps outside, the cool air rushing at her like a tidal wave. She takes a deep breath, hoping it will steady her, but the letter burns in her hand like a reminder she can't escape. She gazes out into the distance, lost. What is she supposed to do now? The truth has shattered her, and now she's left standing in the cold, unsure of how to rebuild from here. Leo bursts into the room, his voice sharp and full of urgency. "You're all looking in the wrong places," he says, his eyes intense as he faces Emily and the others. His presence is unanticipated, and his words hit with the weight of someone who knows more than they let on. Emily freezes, her heart racing. Leo, barely 16 but sharp-eyed and restless, holds something, an envelope, old and worn. This, he continues, changes everything. His words hang in the air like a promise of something dark and dangerous. They all stare at him, unsure of whether to believe or fear him. Leo steps forward, his gaze never wavering. It's not just about your sister anymore. It's about all of you. The tension in the room escalates. Emily can feel the shift, a seismic change in the air. The past, which she thought she had buried, has just resurfaced, and Leo is the catalyst. Leo tosses the worn envelope onto the table. "This is from your sister," he says to Emily, his tone both urgent and knowing. "And it's the last piece of the puzzle." Emily stares at the envelope, her fingers itching to open it, but not trusting herself to. She feels the weight of Leo's words pressing down on her, the knowledge that the truth she's been avoiding is finally within reach. Jake steps forward, his voice low. "What do you mean, the last piece?" Leo doesn't answer right away. He simply nods toward the envelope, his eyes revealing that he knows something that could shatter all of their worlds. Emily, still unsure whether to trust him, reaches for the envelope slowly. Her hand trembles as she opens it, the fragile paper creaking under her fingers. "This isn't over," Leo mutters, his voice low, before stepping back into the shadows. The letter inside the envelope is typed, the text precise and sharp, without the familiar warmth of her sister's handwriting. Emily reads aloud, her voice quivering as the words sink in. "You don't know who you're really dealing with," the letter begins, and Emily can't stop herself from reading on. It reveals a tangled web of lies, one involving the Velvet Blade, a figure she thought was far removed from her life. The letter's contents confirm her worst fears. The conspiracy that led to her sister's disappearance was far more complex than she ever imagined. She looks up, her breath catching in her throat. "The Velvet Blade was behind everything," she whispers, and her eyes meet Leo's. His expression is unreadable. "You're not wrong," Leo replies, stepping forward with a sense of finality. "But there's more, and you need to know all of it." Emily can't comprehend the full scope of what she's just learned. Her mind races as she tries to piece together the new information. Jake steps forward, his face clouded with confusion. "Are you saying that all this time, we've been looking in the wrong place?" he asks, his voice tinged with disbelief. Emily nods, her eyes distant. "Yes," she replies, the weight of the truth pressing on her chest. "The Velvet Blade was orchestrating it all, but they weren't the only player." Her voice falters as she recalls the other names mentioned in the letter. "I don't even know who to trust anymore." Jake places a hand on her shoulder, trying to offer comfort, but Emily pulls away, her thoughts consumed by the mess she's about to unravel. "I have to finish this," she says, more to herself than to anyone else. Emily stands at the window, the letter clutched in her hand. The outside world is still, but her mind is a storm. The pieces are falling into place, but she's not sure she's ready to face what's coming. "It's bigger than I thought," she mutters to herself. Jake approaches, his expression softening as he watches her. "We'll figure this out together," he says quietly, but Emily doesn't respond. She can't shake the feeling that there's more she hasn't uncovered yet, and that the worst is yet to come. She turns toward him, her voice barely above a whisper. "We have to find the Velvet Blade before they find us." The resolve in her eyes tells Jake all he needs to know. The real fight has only just begun. Emily stands in the dark alley, staring at the silhouette in front of her. The figure is tall, cloaked in shadow. Her heart races, and she can feel the blood pounding in her ears. The Velvet Blade, once just a name, now stands before her. She wasn't expecting this meeting. Not like this. "You've come a long way, Emily," the figure says, voice smooth and ominous, sending a chill down her spine. She steps forward despite her fear, determined to face the truth whatever it may be. "I want answers," she demands, her voice trembling but resolute. The figure chuckles softly, a sound that both unnerves and frustrates her. "You think you're ready for the answers? What if the truth isn't what you think it is?" The words hit her like a punch to the gut, leaving her breathless. Emily wants to scream, but she forces herself to stay calm, knowing this confrontation might hold the key to everything. The Velvet Blade steps forward, the dark fabric of their coat trailing behind them like a cloak of mystery. Emily steps back instinctively, her mind racing. "You don't understand, Emily," they say, voice low but clear. "This game you're playing, it's bigger than you, bigger than anyone." Emily swallows hard, trying to keep her composure. "I don't care how big it is," she snaps. "I want the truth. I want to know what happened to my sister." The velvet blade smiles, a cold, calculating expression. "Truth is a slippery thing," they reply. "You think you've been searching for it, but all you've done is follow breadcrumbs. The real story is darker than you can imagine." Emily's resolve hardens. "Then, tell me the story," she demands. The figure's smile widens. "You won't like it," they warn, stepping closer. Emily feels her heart race as the velvet blade inches closer, their gaze never leaving hers. "You think you've been uncovering the truth, but you've only scratched the surface," they say. "Your sister wasn't just a casualty, she was a pawn." The words echo in Emily's mind, leaving a sick feeling in her stomach. She stumbles back a step, but the velvet blade reaches out, steadying her. "No one is innocent in this game, Emily, not even you." The accusation hits harder than she expects. She steps back, eyes wide with disbelief. "What do you mean, not even me?" Her voice is barely above a whisper. The velvet blade smirks. "You've been playing your part all along. Every move you've made, every step, has been part of the plan." The weight of the revelation sinks in. She feels like the ground is being pulled out from under her, the sense of betrayal growing deeper. Emily's head spins with the revelations. Her thoughts race as she tries to process what the velvet blade just said. "You're lying," she breathes, but the words sound hollow even to her. The velvet blade's eyes glint with amusement. "I don't lie, Emily. I just reveal the truth you don't want to face." She wants to turn and run, but something holds her in place. "How long?" she asks, her voice breaking. "How long have you been controlling me?" The velvet blade's smile widens, their voice a whisper. "From the very beginning." Emily steps back, her breath shallow, as the weight of the manipulation presses down on her. The world, which once felt like a simple puzzle, now seems like a twisted web she can't escape from. "I'm done," she says, almost pleading. "I'm done being your pawn." The velvet blade simply watches her, their gaze unwavering. "You think you have a choice now?" they ask, their voice a low, chilling tone. The velvet blade steps back, disappearing into the shadows with a smooth, fluid movement. "Remember, Emily," they call out, their voice echoing in the quiet alley. "The game is far from over." Emily's heart is pounding in her chest, but she refuses to let herself break down. She can't. Not now. Not after everything she's learned. She takes a deep breath, her hands clenched into fists. Her sister's face flashes in her mind, and she knows she can't stop now. The velvet blade may have been playing this game from the beginning, but Emily will finish it. She won't let the darkness consume her. She walks away from the alley, her resolve hardening with every step. The road ahead is uncertain, but she's ready to face it. Emily's heart pounds as she walks into the empty courtroom, the echoes of her footsteps filling the space. This is it, the moment she's been waiting for. Her hands are clammy as she adjusts the file in her grip. Her mind races, replaying the moments that led her here. Everything she's learned, the betrayals, the secrets, it all leads to this final confrontation. As she steps to the podium, she can feel the weight of the eyes on her. Jake is seated behind her, a constant support, but even his steady presence can't calm her nerves. The prosecutor rises, their gaze fixed on Emily. "You think you can win this," they say, voice cold. Emily's jaw clenches. "I'm not here to win," she says, meeting their gaze with unyielding determination. "I'm here to make sure the truth is heard." The room seems to close in around her as the tension builds. The gavel will fall soon, but first she must expose everything. As Emily lays out the evidence, the courtroom listens in stunned silence. She begins to speak, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "This case has been manipulated from the start," she says, her words cutting through the air. The Velvet Blade used people, including me, as pawns in their game. And my sister wasn't just a victim, she was part of it. The room shifts, murmurs running through the audience as Emily lays bare the conspiracy that has been hidden for years. This is not just about justice for the victims. It's about revealing the truth, no matter how dark. The prosecutor's face hardens, but Emily can see the doubt flickering in their eyes. This isn't over yet, but the first blow has been struck. The prosecutor interrupts, trying to undermine Emily's case. You don't have proof, they say, their voice laced with suspicion. These are just accusations. You've been manipulated by someone who wants to see you fall. Emily's stomach twists with the weight of the accusation, but she doesn't flinch. You can dismiss me all you want, she replies, her voice calm but firm. But the truth is in the evidence. You can't hide it forever. She turns to the jury, making direct eye contact with each one. My sister was part of something much larger, and I won't stop until everyone knows the truth. The silence in the room is deafening as Emily's words echo off the walls. She knows the battle isn't over, but the tide is turning. The prosecutor looks at the jury, their grip on the case slipping. The judge slams the gavel, signaling a brief recess. The tension in the courtroom remains thick as everyone processes what has just been revealed. Emily steps back from the podium, feeling the weight of the moment. Her hands are still shaking, but the adrenaline keeps her grounded. Jake walks over to her, placing a hand on her shoulder. You did it, he says quietly. Emily looks up at him, her eyes tired but determined. No, not yet, she replies, her voice full of resolve. This isn't over. The judge's voice cuts through the air, announcing the recess. As the room empties out, Emily stands alone for a moment, gathering her thoughts. This isn't just about winning. It's about ensuring that the truth is never silenced again. The doors open again, and the courtroom fills with the sound of murmurs. Emily returns to the podium, her heart racing, but her resolve stronger than ever. The judge calls the room to order, and the jury returns. The tension is unbearable. The prosecutor stands, his expression cold, ready to make his final argument. But Emily isn't worried. She knows the truth will come out. She's already won. The prosecutor speaks, but his voice falters slightly as he looks at the jury. Emily holds her ground, her eyes unwavering. I've said everything that needs to be said, she declares. The room quiets. The judge looks at the jury. The verdict will be reached shortly, they say. Emily takes a deep breath, knowing that she has done everything she can. Justice may still be a distant dream, but it's closer than it's ever been. Emily stands in front of the courthouse, her hands shaking as she grips the letter that has unraveled everything. The cool morning air stings her skin as she reads the final piece of the puzzle. The city feels silent, as if holding its breath. In the quiet, she reflects on how much has been lost in the pursuit of truth, how much her sister's life and death have cost her. The document in her hand, a legal declaration, has revealed the truth about the Velvet Blade's involvement and how far the corruption had reached. Emily exhales slowly, the weight of what's ahead settling in her chest. She now knows who's behind the shadowy manipulations, and that the justice system has, for years, failed to protect the innocent. It's time, she says quietly to herself. She's done waiting. She's done being afraid. She's going to expose everything, no matter the personal cost. No more shadows. Only light. Inside the courthouse, the buzz of activity feels alien to Emily as she walks down the hall. The floor beneath her feet echoes with every step. Her heart beats faster with each step closer to the courtroom where the final confrontation will unfold. As she pushes open the doors, she sees the prosecutor, the same man who had tried to undermine her at every turn. He looks up, his face flickering with a mix of annoyance and recognition. You think you've won, don't you? He sneers. Emily doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she takes a breath, allowing the weight of the moment to settle. No, she says, finally meeting his gaze with quiet strength. I think we've both been playing the wrong game. The prosecutor glares, his jaw tight. We'll see about that, he mutters. But Emily stands her ground, knowing she has the upper hand now. The room falls silent as the judge enters. Unravels. Emily takes her seat, the weight of the moment settling over her like a heavy cloak. She looks at the jury, their eyes on her, waiting for her next move. The prosecutor begins his closing argument, his words sharp, calculated. He tries to twist the evidence in his favor, but Emily listens carefully, taking in each word. When it's her turn, she stands, feeling the eyes of the room on her. "I've shown you the truth," she says, her voice clear and unwavering. "But the truth is not just what's on paper. It's in the lives we've destroyed by keeping secrets." She pauses, letting the words sink in. "You must decide what kind of world you want to live in, one where the powerful manipulate and control, or one where we fight for what's right." The jury listens intently. This is the moment that will define everything. The jury deliberates for what feels like hours, the weight of the decision hanging in the air. Emily sits in the gallery, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Jake sits beside her, his face reflecting the same mixture of anxiety and hope. "No matter what happens, you've done more than anyone else ever could," he says softly, his voice full of admiration. Emily nods, her gaze fixed on the closed doors leading to the jury room. "I just want it to be over," she whispers back, her voice tinged with exhaustion. But she knows deep down that no matter the outcome, she has already won. The truth is out, and it will never be silenced again. The doors to the jury room finally open, and the foreman steps out, his face unreadable. Emily holds her breath, knowing that the moment of truth is finally here. The foreman steps forward, and the entire courtroom holds its breath. "Will the jury find the defendant guilty?" The words hit Emily like a physical blow, but at the same time, a strange sense of relief washes over her. Justice has been served, but not just for her. For her sister. For all the victims who were never heard. The prosecutor's face is a mask of frustration as the gavel falls. Emily stands, her legs shaky, but her heart feels lighter than it has in years. She did it. It's over. The battle has been long, and the scars will remain, but the truth has finally been acknowledged. She walks out of the courtroom, her head held high, knowing that the fight for justice was worth every sacrifice. Emily stands at the edge of the cliff, the wind-swept air stinging her face, the vast ocean stretching out before her. She holds the letter that has haunted her for years, the one her sister left behind. The faint memory of her sister's voice whispers in her mind, "I've always been with you." Emily exhales, the words feeling heavier now than when she first read them. The world around her seems distant, almost unreal, as she clutches the letter tighter. It was the final piece of the puzzle. She feels at peace, yet part of her wonders if there will always be a gap. A place where the past will never fully be healed. Her gaze drifts toward the horizon, where the sky meets the sea. It's a moment of closure, but also one of uncertainty, as if the question of whether she truly understands everything lingers in the air. The past is gone, but its echoes will forever shape her future. Emily walks away from the cliff, the letter tucked safely in her bag. She glances back one last time, a sense of finality settling over her. The path she's walked has been long and filled with pain, but it has also shown her strength she never knew she had. Jake's words echo in her mind. "You did it. You found the truth." She has. But the journey isn't over. The world is still out there, waiting, and now she has the power to change it. Emily pauses at the bottom of the hill, her eyes lifting toward the city skyline in the distance. It seems brighter now, as if a new day is dawning, and for the first time in a long while, she feels like she can breathe again. The shadows have lifted, but there's still work to be done. This is just the beginning. Emily sits at the kitchen table, the house silent around her. She carefully unfolds the letter her sister had written, now crumpled from her earlier grip. The words on the page are the same, but somehow they feel different now, less like a painful wound and more like a scar that has healed. Emily traces the words with her finger, each letter representing a different part of her journey. "I've always been with you." It no longer stings. She's come to understand that her sister's choices, however flawed, were part of the larger picture. They were connected in ways she never realized. their paths intertwined. With a deep breath, Emily folds the letter carefully and places it in the drawer, a symbol of acceptance, of moving forward. Emily steps out of the house, the fresh air filling her lungs. The sun is setting, casting an orange glow across the landscape. She watches as the sky shifts, the fading light reminding her of the battles she fought to get here. Her phone buzzes in her pocket, and she pulls it out, glancing at the message from Jake. Ready to move on? She smiles softly, typing back. Ready. The weight of the past no longer hangs over her, but she knows that the scars, the memories, will always be there. They'll shape her, but they won't define her. The road ahead is open, and she's ready to walk it, one step at a time, knowing that no matter what happens, she's finally free. As Emily walks through the city, she feels the weight of the past finally lift from her shoulders. The sounds of the street, the chatter of people, the distant hum of traffic, it all feels different now, lighter. She's no longer a woman defined by loss, by the shadows of what happened to her sister. She's her own person, shaped by her journey, but not imprisoned by it. A small part of her will always carry the past, but now it's a memory she's chosen to let go of. She reaches the park and sits on a bench, the city skyline in front of her. She closes her eyes, letting the peace of the moment wash over her. The battle is over. The truth has been set free. And now she is too.